Kevin was our firstborn, and that adds a little extra to it. Anybody who's a parent will know that.
When Kevin was born, we knew there was something wrong, but we didn't know what. And then a few days later we were told there was a hearing problem. So we thought, okay, we'll take that. We can, work with that. But then as things progressed, there was another problem, and another problem, and another problem, and another problem.
It appeared like he had cerebral palsy, but it was some sort of a condition that we've never, ever got a name on.
But in saying that, Kevin had a great zest for life, loved the crack, great spirit. And in hindsight, how brave he was, like how much he suffered, you have to admire him. And while he was here, we always say it with his life, when we look back at photographs,
we were so happy.
Everybody was happy. We were all smiling. Kevin made the most of life when he was alive, and we made the most of life with him and the other kids.
We actually made a pact above on the Windy Gap when we took him home from Skaboo. We stood in a lay-by there, and we said no matter what happens, no matter what challenge is ahead, because we were advised to go home and love him, and basically love him as a child. It was great advice that we got. Kevin went under palliative care about 18 months before he died. We knew as a family that we were already there, and we were at a stage that we were crying out for that support. You have it in your head, you know it in your heart, but you're nearly afraid to say it out.
Palliative care is a word that frightens a lot of people, but actually it shouldn't. It's a wonderful thing, because when you go under palliative care, your life changes.
For the better?
For the better, hugely. And the services are there. Nobody refuses palliative care. I suppose you feel protected under palliative care.
It's a cushion of compassion.
It is, and it's a word that I suppose strikes fear into people, but it's a wonderful thing. And it's nobody wants to do it or go under it, but when you are, you realise the benefits of it.
We accessed palliative care hospice for Kevin in Dublin, particularly around appointments and all of that. But that was like a 3.5, well, technically it should have been 3.5, 4 hours. But you were loading up all this equipment, all these bags, to go up and maybe have a weekend. As parents, you were exhausted. The kids loved it, They called it the best hotel in Dublin. When we went into that building, the burden of care was taken away from it, and we could actually really concentrate on being a family, because in this situation, oftentimes the child with the life-limiting illness, all the focus goes on to them, and the other children are the special children, because they just have to, it's like going surfing. The wave comes, they have no choice. They have to go with it or fall off. That does have consequences for them. That was the only thing that was missing for us here in the West. We used to envy the families in Dublin and the Greater Leinster area with regards to that, because they could access the outpatient element as well of having a physical building. When Kevin got really sick and ended up in ICU in Crumlin, the writing was on the wall that his life was getting shorter, and we were trying to figure out in that last week of his life, how could we get him home?
If there had been a hospice, the problem would have been solved. Get Kevin down to the hospice. Then we as parents you're relieved of the burden of the medical care that could be taken care of. We could concentrate on his final days. We could bring in our children and the extended family and friends, and do really what we should be doing, looking after Kevin as a family in his final days. The only one who was with Kevin when he died was Marital, and a friend of ours. I was halfway across the country, the children were here, whereas if that was in Mayo or in Roscommon or someplace, everybody could have got there, everybody could have seen Kevin maybe in his last few moments and say a proper goodbye, which we didn't get a chance to do.
None of you did. The whole palliative care thing it's about the community team. It's about having choice, and it's more than the sum of its parts. All those parts are like a jigsaw. So if you have a building and a hospice, if you have your community palliative care team, and then working, you know, with your hospitals and your, in our case, disability services, that's like a perfect jigsaw.
The Sunflower Children's Hospice in the west of Ireland will make a huge difference to families who have been in similar situations to us. It'll take a huge burden of worry off them and of organisation and trying to keep family life normal as much as possible. Once this building is here, it'll make a massive difference.